This ain't a yes, this ain't a no. Just do your thing, we'll see how it goes. Rush it, don't succeed. Yeah, dust yourself off and try again. You can dust it off and try again. Rush it, don't succeed. You can dust it off and try again. Dust yourself off and try again.
Good morning. Welcome to the fourth episode of the Portal Podcast. Today we're going to continue from episode 3. If you remember, we looked at the sketch-fab model of the Roman Forum. And if you remember, slightly to the left of the Colosseum was the Arch of Titus. We're going to start our deep dive of the various buildings and ruins that are is still existing in the Roman Forum today. Before I get started, just wanted to say, can you believe how fast we're blowing through the month of November? I mean, my goodness, already on the 11th. Phew. And it's amazing how fast time flies. But as you know, this Portal podcast is all about time travel. If you going back to various places, so it's not surprising. So welcome back again to the Portal. I'm Bob Colbert, your host. And so let's go ahead and get started. We'll go ahead and look at the video. Today we have 2 videos, the normal Roman Forum video, and then we'll have a video specifically on the Arch of Titus. So I'll go ahead and start that. Let's see.
The forum proper included this square, the buildings facing it, and sometimes an additional area, the Forum Adjectum, extending southeast as far as the Arch of Titus. Originally, the site of the forum had been a marshy lake where waters from the surrounding hills drained. This was drained by the Tarquins with the Cloaca Maxima, or a needed citation. Because of its location, sediments from both the flooding Tiber and the erosion from the surrounding hills have been raising the level of the forum floor for centuries. Excavated sequences of remains of paving show that sediment eroded from the surrounding hills was already raising the level in early Republican times. The Temple of Castor and Pollux is an ancient temple in the Roman Forum. It was originally built in gratitude for victory at the Battle of...
All righty. So I'll do a little, brief introductory. The reference that I'm using is Wikipedia. Uh, let's see if you want to go to the Wikipedia for Arch of Titus. Feel free to. I'll read some historical aspects of it. All right, so this is about the main arch of Titus. Sits on the Via Sacra in the Roman Forum. Uh, the Arch of Titus, it is a first century AD honorific arch, meaning to honor certain events or historical that a particular emperor would have conducted in his lifetime that they're honoring. Uh, so it's located again on the Via Sacra in Rome, and it's just to the southeast of the Roman Forum. So it was constructed in circa AD 81, and this was by Emperor Domitian, shortly after the death of his older brother, Titus, to commemorate Titus's official deification or consecratio and the victory of Titus together with their father, Vespasian, over the Jewish rebellion in Judea at the time. The arch contains panels depicting the triumphal procession celebrated in AD 71 after the Roman victory culminating in the fall of Jerusalem. And it provided one of the few contemporary depictions of artifacts from Herod's temple also. Although the panels are not explicitly stated as illustrating this event, they are closely parallel to the narrative of the Roman procession as described a decade prior in Josephus, the Jewish war. If you remember, Josephus was a Roman Jewish historian and a military leader. His first name was Flavius Josephus. He was best known for writing the Jewish War. He was born in Jerusalem, then part of the Roman province of Judea, to a father of priestly descent and a mother who claimed royalty as their ancestor. The Arch of Titus, it became a symbol of the Jewish diaspora, and the menorah depicted on the arch served as the model for the menorah used as the emblem of the state of Israel. The arch has provided the general model for many of the triumphal arches erected since the 16th century, and it is also the inspiration for the Arch of the Triomphe in Paris. It holds an important place in art history as well, being the focus of Franz Wyckoff's appreciation of Roman art in contrast to the prevailing view. I'll go ahead and show you the next video. It kind of goes in a little visual in depth. So let's go ahead and do that. One moment.
The Arch of Titus is a 1st century AD honorific arch, located on the Via Sacra in Rome, just to the southeast of the Roman Forum. It was constructed in 82 AD by the Emperor Domitian, shortly after the death of his older brother Titus, to commemorate Titus's victories, including the siege of Jerusalem in 70 AD. The arch is large with both fluted and unfluted columns, the latter being a result of 19th century restoration. The spandrels on the upper left and right of the arch contain personifications of victory as a winged woman. Between the spandrels is the keystone, on which stands a female on the east side and a male on the west side. The soffit of the axial archway is deeply coffered with a relief of the apotheosis of Titus at the center. The sculptural program also includes 2 panel reliefs lining the passageway within the arch. Both commemorate the joint triumph celebrated by Titus and his father Vespasian in the summer of 71 AD. The south panel depicts the spoils taken from the temple in Jerusalem. The golden candelabrum or menorah is the main focus and is carved in deep relief. Other sacred objects being carried in the triumphal procession are the gold trumpets, the fire pans for removing the ashes from the altar, and the table of shew bread. These spoils were likely originally colored gold with the background in blue. In 2012, the Arch of Titus Digital Restoration Project discovered remains of yellow ochre paint on the menorah relief.
All righty. So I'll cover a little bit about the history of the Arch of Titus. Based on the style of the sculptural details, as you saw in the video, Domitian's favored architect was named Rabirius. Sometimes he was credited with the Colosseum as well. He may have executed the arch project. Without the contemporary documentation, however, attributions of Roman buildings on the basis of style are a little shaky to at best. The brother and the successor of Titus built the arch despite being described as hateful toward Titus by Cassiodia. The medieval Latin travel guide, Mirabilia Urbis Romae, noted the document writing, "The Arch of the Seven Lamps of Titus and Vespasian, where Moses' candlesticks is having 7 branches with the Ark of the Covenant, at the foot of the cartulary tower." During the Middle Ages, the Frangipani family added a second story to the vault area, converting it into a fortified tower. Beam holes from the constructions remain in the panels. You saw those holes up there in the video at the top of the panels there. You can see those beam holes. Beam holes from the construction remained in the panels. Pope Paul the Fourth, papacy in 1555 to 1559, made it a place of yearly oath of submission. In the year 1716, Adrian Roland published his De Spoliis Templi Hierosolymani in Artua Titanio Romae, conspicuous in English. Wow, that was a lot. The spoils of the temple, Jerusalem, visible on the Arch of the Titan at Rome. It was one of the first buildings sustaining a modern restoration. That was started with Raphael Stern in 1817. It continued by Balladur under Pius VII in 1821 with new capitals and with travertine masonry distinguishable from the original marble. The restoration was a model for the countryside of Portia Pia. At an unknown date, a local ban on Jews walking under the arch was placed on the monument by Rome's chief rabbinate. This was rescinded on the foundation of the State of Israel in 1948, and at the Hanukkah event in 1997, the change was made public. The arch was never mentioned in the rabbinic literature. A little bit on the architecture itself. The arch is large with both fluted and unfluted columns, the latter being the result of a 19th century restoration project. To give you a feel for the size of the Arch of Titus, the Arch of Titus measures 15.4 meters, that's 50 feet in height, 13.5 meters or 44 feet in width, 4.75 meters, 15.5 feet in depth. The inner archway is 8.3 meters or 27 feet in height, and 5.36 meters, 17.5 feet in width. A little bit on the decorative sculpture of it, which you saw in the video, very, very, very ornately decorated in the arch itself, where the panels are. The spandrels on the upper left and right of the arch contain personifications of victory as winged women. Between the spandrels is the keystone, usually like a keystone's like up there on the top, on which there stands a female on the east side and a male on the west side. The soffit of the axial archway, right there, the soffit of the actual archway is deeply coffered with a relief of Apotheus of Titus at the center. The sculptural program also included two panel reliefs lining the passageway within the arch itself. Both commemorated the joint triumph celebrated by Titus and his father, Vespasian, in the summer of AD 71. Just to give you an idea of who Vespasian, he was the father. He was a Roman emperor from AD 69 to 79, the fourth and the last emperor who reigned in the year of the four emperors. He founded the Flavian dynasty that ruled the empire for 27 years. His fiscal reforms, financial and organization of the government, consolidated of the empire, generated political stability and a vast Roman building period. And that was in the summer of AD 71. The south, the inner panel, depicts spoils taken from the temple in Jerusalem. The golden candelabrum, or menorah, is the main focus, and the is carved very deep in deep relief. Other sacred objects being carried in the triumphal procession are the gold trumpets, the fire pans for removing the ashes from the altar, and the table of showbread. These spoils were likely originally colored in gold with a background in blue. In 2012, the Arch of Titus Digital Restoration Project did discover remains of yellow ochre paint, or for gold, on the menorah relief. The north inner panel depicted Titus as a triumphator attended by various genii and lictors who carry fascias. Fascias is a bound of bundled wooden rods. This is sometimes including an axe with a blade emerging. The fascia is an Italian symbol that had its origin in the Etruscan civilization. It was passed on to ancient Rome, where it symbolized a Roman king's power to punish his subjects, and later a magistrate's uh, artifact. The north inner panel depicted Titus's triumph, were attended by various genii lictors who carried the fascias again. A helmeted Amazonian velour led the quadriga, or four-horsed chariot, which carries Titus, the emperor. The winged victory crowns him with a laurel wreath. The juxtaposition is significant in that it is one of the first examples of divinities and human beings present in one scene together. This contrasted with panels of the Arachapasses, where humans and divinities were separated. The sculpture of the outer faces of the two great piers was lost when the Arch of Titus was incorporated in medieval defensive walls. The attic of the arch was originally crowned by more statuary, perhaps of a gilded chariot. The main inscription used to be ornamented by letters made of perhaps silver, gold, or perhaps some other metal. Okay, in 1821 inscription, the opposite side of the Arch of Titus received new inscriptions after it was restored during the pontification of Pope Pius VII by Giuseppe Validier in 1821. The restoration was intentionally made in travertine to differentiate it from the original marble and the restored portions. All righty. Well, I think that's enough reading. Let me show you the video once again. I'll see you on the other side of that. So that, as you remember, we're kind of doing these in 60-second increments. And so most people's attention spans is about 60 seconds as far as history of math. So I wanted to go ahead and let you see again the Roman Arch of Titus.
The Arch of Titus is a 1st century AD honorific arch, located on the Via Sacra in Rome, just to the southeast of the Roman Forum. It was constructed in 82 AD by the Emperor Domitian, shortly after the death of his older brother Titus, to commemorate Titus's victories, including the siege of Jerusalem in 70 AD. The arch is large with both fluted and unfluted columns, the latter being the result of 19th century restoration. The spandrels on the upper left and right of the arch contain personifications of victory as a winged woman. Between the spandrels is the keystone, on which stands a female on the east side and a male on the west side. The soffit of the axial archway is deeply coffered with a relief of the apotheosis of Titus at the center. The sculptural program also includes 2 panel reliefs lining the passageway within the arch. Both commemorate the joint triumph celebrated by Titus and his father Vespasian in the summer of 71 AD. The south panel depicts the spoils taken from the temple in Jerusalem. The golden candelabrum or menorah is the main focus and is carved in deep relief. Other sacred objects being carried in the triumphal procession are the gold trumpets, the fire pans for removing the ashes from the altar, and the table of shew bread. These spoils were likely originally colored gold with a background in blue. In 2012, the Arch of Titus Digital Restoration Project discovered remains of yellow ochre paint on the menorah relief.
All righty. So today we covered the Arch of Titus, and if you were in attendance on the last episode, we also went through a Sketchfab 3D model. I thought it was very well done. I wished it had more polygons to increase the resolution on that, but it served its purpose to describe in a 3D way that you could peruse or travel through, fly through, or whatever you want to call it, through those historical ruins. And so, yeah, so this was the first episode that we would do a deep dive. From here forth, we'll probably do more deep dives of all of the buildings, ruins, and such, maybe even some gardens and stuff. I forgot to mention there was a lot of ornate gardens, and in that Sketchfab model, I failed to mention that. I apologize on that. But yeah, Rome had some beautiful gardens and that. So, well, as we can tell, we're on the 11th day of November. We're blowing through the month very fast. We're also in the thick of regular season of college football. So wherever you are, I hope you enjoyed this episode. It was the 4th episode of the Roman Forum. This is 4 out of 20 episodes that we'll be covering on this. And if you have any commentary on the Arts of Titus or sketch file model or anything that we've covered so far in the Roman Forum series, please leave them in the comments below section. So again, wherever you are, I hope you have a wonderful Saturday remainder. Here it's 8:26 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and we're in Los Angeles, and it's gorgeous here. Temperatures probably the high will be about 61 degrees. Feels like it's probably about 46 degrees right now. So you have a great rest of the weekend, and on next week, I hope you have a very productive and safe weekend. Keep positive. There's a lot of negativity going on in this world, so try to keep a positive face on things and positive spirit on that. So we'll see you next Saturday at 8 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Y'all take care, my friends. See you later.
What you do, you into me, but I can't let it go so easily until I see what it could be. Could be eternity or just a week. We know our chemistry.